Hello and welcome to a discussion with Make UK looking at business travel to the European Union. Today we'll be looking at work permits and requirements before you travel. Key message to companies is to check before you go. Today I'm joined by my colleagues Nicola and Jenny. Nicola, over to you.
Thanks, Fergus. So Fergus, one of the common questions we're asked is, if we have 90-day visa-free travel, why do we need a work permit?
Nicola, great question. What's important to understand in terms of business travel to the European Union is that you need to think about travel and work separately. So while you can travel to the European Union visa-free, there are limited options that you can actually, or limited activities that you can undertake under that visa-free travel. So if you are looking at doing work in the European Union, it's really important to check before you go and understand the requirements. If you're undertaking commercial activity, if you're undertaking certain activities, a work permit may be required. So look at work and travel separately and check the requirements for both.
And Fergus, how would a company go about obtaining a work permit?
So attaining the work permit can be done from the country that you're traveling to. And it's really important, as with many other of the requirements, that you look at which country you're traveling to and the requirements of that country. Then you'll need to look at the activity that you're undertaking and how that country defines that. So there isn't one rule for the whole of the European Union. It is really looking at country by country guidance, and you need to understand the requirements in the country you're actually traveling to. That country, through their government website, will have information. There's also information available through the UK government website, country by country guidance that sets out some of the requirements. But you can also come to us at Make UK and we can help companies with that journey and understanding the requirements in each country they're traveling to.
So just to clarify, Fergus, if you work and travel all over Europe, there's not one visa that you can get that will cover you for the whole of Europe. So I've heard a few people saying, oh, can I just get a Schengen visa for work? What you're saying is people have to go to each country and obtain the right work visa for every country.
Nicola, that's right. Again, it's important to make the distinction between travel and work. So while you can travel visa-free within the Schengen area for 90 days, that is both for leisure purposes and for work purposes, but there are a really limited number of activities that you can undertake under that visa-free travel. If you're undertaking activity which is not caught by that, you may well require a visa, and the visa that you will need will be specific to the activity you're undertaking and the country you're traveling to. So if you went to multiple countries, if you travel to France and then onwards to Germany, and both those countries classify the activity as work, you would need a visa to enter France, a visa to enter Germany, and possibly on top of that, a work permit to work in both of those places as well.
Okay, and typically, how much should people expect to pay for the visas?
Again, this will depend on which country you're traveling to. So there are different fees and different requirements depending on the country you're traveling to and potentially the complexity of the activity you're undertaking. It can be hundreds of pounds, it can be thousands of pounds. So it's really worth checking before you go, understanding your requirements in each of the countries and really fulfilling the obligations, both in terms of travel, but also work, and really to look at those things separately.
Okay, and how long would it take typically to get a work permit or a visa, Fergus?
What we've seen at the moment is that there are some longer leading times. I think we need to recognise that the Trade and Cooperation Agreement that sets out the rules for the relationship between the UK and the EU is new for everyone. So it is taking time for other member states, for European member states to digest that information and to understand which visas are required for which activity. So it can take a little bit longer than normal, and we are seeing lead-in times of up to or even more than 6 weeks for some countries and some territories. So really important that you start planning, really important that you look at all of your activity so that you can map that in order to be able to understand what your requirements are for the activity you undertake on a day-to-day basis and plan well ahead.
And Fergus, what would happen if people turned up without the appropriate work visa? Will they just be turned away?
So what has changed again since the beginning of this year is that you will be you're not granted automatic access. So you will be challenged at the border for the activity you're undertaking. Now that may be a very smooth process, but it may also be a process that requires you to show and justify both the activity that you're undertaking, your reason for travel, and that you have therefore the appropriate information. If you don't have that appropriate information, it is possible that you'll be turned away at the border, and we have seen some anecdotal evidence of that already. Important again, particularly in this period, not to confuse the requirements for work permits or visas with the corona requirements. Those are separate. There may well still be checks at the border, and you may well be turned away if you don't have the appropriate paperwork.
Thank you, Fergus.
Thanks very much. I think what's really important, as with all of the issues around business travel, is to check before you go. Make UK can help companies understand the requirements. We can work with you to map all of your activity overseas in the EU, understand whether those activities are classified as work, and give you appropriate guidance so that you can understand your obligations and fulfill them. So again, important to check before you go. Thanks very much.